I am Sean Webb, and this is Your Superior Self.
Hi, this is Ra Goddess, and I am rolling with Your Superior Self.
Hi, this is Dave Meltzer, and this is Your Superior Self.
Hi, this is Zach Poitras, and this is Your Superior Self.
I'm Ginny Sarasvati, and this is Your Superior Self.
What's up, everybody? I'm Aubrey Marcus, and this is Your Superior Self.
What is up, Superior Nation? Welcome back. I'm Trey Downs, and this is Your Superior Self. I'm fired up. I'm literally fired up. Well, because I have the fire next to me, in my office, the electrical fake fireplace. You might hear that in the background. I apologize, but it's cold. It is cold out, and I got that thing cranked up to 80 degrees. And it's just so funny how you have like little things. Like I bought this fireplace in the old house, and I've always wanted a fireplace. You know, that's the one thing I've always wanted in my house, and I finally got it. I was able to get my fireplace, but this one is special because it was my first fireplace in our old home. It's an electric one. It's for like Lowe's. I got it for like $100, but it's in my office now, and it's cranked up to 80 degrees. I just hope it still lasts. But yeah, I'm fired up, literally, because we get to talk about leadership today. Leadership with Kathleen Ries-Jubenville. And some of you might not know who she is, but she's an up-and-comer. She's a performance coach that I was introduced to by a good friend, and for good reason, because we have a great conversation today. We talk about spirituality, we talk about leadership, and we talk about what fires Kathleen up, like what her dream is. And we narrow that down a little bit and get more specific about where she wants to go. And I love these conversations, just being able to just vibe with some good people and to just free flow a conversation and not really have any direction, but there's just a ton of value in this conversation that I think you guys will totally love. But here's a small clip of what Kathleen brings to the table.
So if we can get some clarity around one thing that we think we want to do, and then try to build necessity around that. And what I mean by necessity is, what is that driving force that's going to keep you doing it even on your worst days? What gets you up in the morning to get you going? And for me, what came out of my books was that I really wanted to put light into the world. So whatever I did, I needed to, that's my necessity. Like I don't want to just have a financial statement at the end of the day. I need to be working with people and helping people multiply the light.
And the reason why I love that clip is because it is hard to continue your dream when like every day brings new junk to your life. Like as an entrepreneur, we have all these ideas and ambitions, and we never, that's why a lot of people get stuck, because one day you wake up and now you have a new additional idea that attracts you. It's like a new carrot to chase after. And what we really wanted to do, what we really started on, is in the rear view. Or we go and we attack an idea for a week or two, and then we start hitting resistance, and we don't really feel like we're getting the momentum that we need, and we cut loose, and then we go on to the next idea because we've had 1,000,001 ideas since that idea. And that's why I love talking to Kathleen, because she really narrows it down, and she really focuses on that idea and keeping you focused on your mission, like your original mission. Because sometimes I feel like the original mission is the mission, like, because that's the one that started everything. And we get lost in the junk, we get lost in the noise in the world that people, the external noise that says, oh, well, you should do this, you should tailor it this way, or why are you doing it that way? And I think that is obviously the wrong way to go about it. But Kathleen brings you back down to the internal source. Like, she basically brings you back down to earth and is like, what is it that you want to do? Let's focus on this. Let's get a game plan. Let's get some systems put in place so that you can achieve your goal, which is, we need coaches. We need performance coaches in this new world of entrepreneurship, because there's so much noise. And plus, obviously, everything has changed since COVID-19. A lot of small businesses have gone out of business, and to be able to pivot and think of new ideas and how to pivot your business in a new direction that you will succeed in times like these. Yeah, we need performance coaches, and that's why I wanted to have her on the show, because she is essential in a lot of businesses' success. So with that said, before we get into it, please go to yoursuperiorself.com. Leave me a message. Let me know what you guys are up to. You can follow me on social media, TDowns80 on Instagram and Twitter at DownsTrey. I love hearing from you guys. I'm getting a lot of great inspirational messages that are just really near and dear to my heart, because it allows me to see what you guys are up to, and some of your stories are phenomenal. And all I can say is just keep grinding and keep pursuing your dreams. And that's the life worth living, is the pursuit of that. Always will be. The journey is the way. The end result, that is the dream, but the journey is the best part. So just keep doing what you're doing. All right, guys. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Kathleen Ries-Jubenville.
So hi there, I'm Kathleen Ries-Jubenville with The Fearless Climb. I am a certified high performance coach and specializing working with small business owners, helping them get through the 5 steps to freedom.
Kathleen, thank you so much for joining the show.
My pleasure. I'm excited.
So what have you been up to? I've been reading a little bit of your book, which I love the title, by the way, Grow a Pair of Antlers. What is that about? So in my opinion, just from reading the book, this is meant for guys, right? I'm assuming.
There is, thanks for asking. Yeah, so there's 2 versions of it. There's a Fearless Buck edition and a Fearless Doe edition. Mm-hmm. So for men and women, but the idea is it's Grow a Pair of Antlers, the fearless climb to lead your herd. And so the book is all about leadership and the different qualities and values that I felt were important in a leader. Things like courage, communication, resilience, and even faith. I talk about my faith in there, how it supports me in bringing what I believe is love and light into the world. And it also helps me with those things like courage and resilience.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Courage, resilience, leadership. You're hitting on all the key points that I'm all about. Mm. And why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, as far as, well, you just did that, but I mean, so you had your own business, right? And you sold that, and now you're coaching, correct?
I did, yes. Actually, I was 30 years in an accounting and finance career, and started out getting my finance degree. Took me 12 years to get that. I worked full-time and went to school part-time. And that wasn't what I set out to be. I wasn't sure what I was going to be, but I got a job as an accounts payable clerk and just thought, hey, I'm okay at math, and just kind of went with it. And it just turned into this 30-year career, which was an amazing career. 12 of those years, I had my own company. I was a QuickBooks Pro advisor for small business owners. And so I used to sit with a lot of times a husband and a wife owners, and the husband would sit on one side, the wife on the other. And so I'd almost do kind of like marriage counseling while I'm talking about their finances too, trying to clean that up. But I just had so much fun. And I learned a few things through that journey. One is that in order to grow a business, you've got to get past just being by yourself. You've got to learn how to think bigger and build on that. And the other thing I learned is that owning a small business is a very creative endeavor. So I could work with the same industry, 2 different people in the same industry, 2 payroll services, 2 widget manufacturers, whatever it was they were doing, and the businesses would look very different because they reflected the creativity and the personality of the owner. So it's so much fun. Small business is so much fun because it's a creative endeavor.
Mm-hmm. Who is your niche, I guess, client?
Yeah. So now, over the years that I transitioned into coaching, and for me, I still love working with small business owners. The business owner in this time now, especially, I feel like the world has shifted, and we were heading this direction anyway, where we were getting more online, social media, cloud, software, these kind of things, remote work. These things were starting to become more prevalent anyway, but there was a lot of resistance because change is hard. It takes time and money. But now this is a new way of doing things. In the world, I don't think we're going to go back to the old way. There's going to be some things that'll stay the same, but there's a lot of change, and it's an opportunity for people. So the best clients for me are business owners who are looking to embrace the new world and kind of courageously get out there. If you've never done a video before, you've never done a social media post before, you've never engaged your community and marketed in that manner, that's new for people. So I'd love to work with them in that. If they're trying to,
I'm sorry, it can be very intimidating, right? The social media aspect of that.
It is. There's a lot of courageous, we're back to that word, attempts and failures, honestly. And you look back and you learn from that and you do better the next time. And one of the interesting things about getting there on social media is you can attract people that aren't exactly in the kind of people you're wanting to connect with from a business standpoint. And so some of that, being courageous of putting yourself out there, is learning how to manage your own emotional responses to comments or connections, and also manage who you are wanting to connect with and do business with. And for me, I got into this thinking, I just want to help people. I want to change the world and support. But by doing that, then I sometimes got sucked into helping people that really weren't wanting the help. They were not in that mindset of growth and opportunity. So I really started defining who it was I wanted to talk with, that wanted to change, that wanted opportunity and growth and learning and training and to try new things. And those people who were just going to distract me from serving those that were ready for it. So that's part of what the challenge is on getting out there in the world in social media.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's intimidating. There's a lot of noise right now, especially with everything that's going on in the world. And it's tough to break through because it seems like, you have your hands full as far as a coach for small businesses. I think a lot of small businesses do not take advantage of social media and putting their brands out there. I think they feel like, it's free, right? You can go get a Facebook webpage or whatever, Instagram account for your business, and then have someone start, making posts about, it's free content. And there's if you're smart about hashtags and who to tag or who to post to, you can exponentially grow your clientele or your market. And a lot of people are intimidated by that. I know that they just don't know anything about it. But I'm glad that you're out there doing that. I'm glad that you're out there showing these guys, these small business owners, especially now. I feel like a lot of got hit with the pandemic. So it's like, obviously you've been affected by it, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's some businesses have been thriving through this, and others, maybe their business was already going to be one that would thrive. I know a chiropractor who's thriving right now, which surprised me, but it's because a lot of people were concerned about going to the emergency room if they had a backache or whatever. Or a headache. And so he was able, he said one mom brought her son in and because he had an x-ray machine. So he took an x-ray, turned out the arm was broken. So he had to go to emergency, but they went to him first. So there's just opportunities. You'd be like, you didn't have expected. And there's also some businesses that have just been good at pivoting. You know, you hear a lot about restaurants with the pickup delivery and things like that. But there are other businesses that are struggling for various reasons. And so those businesses, for good reason, have been more thoughtful about what they were going to spend their money on, and been more conservative to play this out. This is a brave new world. We don't know what's going to happen next. And so we're just trying to go one step at a time. And so I'm encouraging those business owners to spend that time strategizing on their business and planning and learning for themselves, personal development, business knowledge. This is a good time to build your foundation. So as we're starting to open up, they can take advantage of it.
Now, why did you want to be a coach?
Oh yeah, that's a great question, Trey. Thank you. I guess that's why you're the podcaster. You got this. So, you know, I'm a little over 50 years old, and I got to the midlife part where I'd done the accounting for 30 years. It'd been a great career. And I just felt like I wasn't sure I wanted to spend the next 50 years of my life like that. I felt like I had more to give, and I was getting a little burnout on tax rules and deadlines. And so I actually sought out a coach, and I started being coached by a high performance coach. And that's why I wrote the book. It was an expression of an exploration almost of my feelings and my thoughts. And it kind of became my business card. And so as I was getting coached, I started to realize that, oh my gosh, I have this capacity within me to also be a coach. And so I started being trained by Brendan Burchard, who certified my coach, same person. And now I'm certified by Brendan, and bringing the high performance coaching along with all my business experience, combining that, because owning a business, a lot of it has to do with mindset. You know, I can put in business strategies, but if you don't have the right mindset for it, so I really love this combination of being able to help with the mindset and the strategies.
Yeah, I see Brendan's book right behind you, The High Performance Habits, which is a good book. I like that book a lot. Yeah. What is the most valuable piece of it, I guess, advice that he's given you?
So I like the conversation around clarity and necessity. And if you're going to accomplish anything, one of the challenges entrepreneurs have is we have a million ideas. And so it's like, which direction do you go? And a lot of times that'll just stop us dead in our tracks and we won't do anything. So if we can get some clarity around one thing that we think we want to do, and then try to build necessity around that. And what I mean by necessity is, what is that driving force that's going to keep you doing it even on your worst days? What gets you up in the morning to get you going? And for me, what came out of my books was that I really wanted to put light into the world. So whatever I did, that's my necessity. Like I don't want to just have a financial statement at the end of the day. I need to be working with people and helping people multiply the light through their businesses. And so that's my necessity. When I first got started, one of my goals that I was looking at in coaching was how much money I was making. And I was miserable when I kept looking at the numbers. It didn't really, I was happy when I got a sale, of course, but that wasn't my necessity. I need to pay my bills, but my necessity was how much I was connecting with people. So I started counting how many smiles I got in a day, by talking with someone. And then I was feeling fulfilled. So that clarity around what it was I was trying to accomplish, it helped me then connect with my necessity. And now every morning I can get up and be on Zoom, 5 times a day. And if I've got 5 smiles at the end of the day, I've had a good day. And awesome. Hopefully then that will result in a sale in the long run.
That's awesome. How has your family supported you in this endeavor, this coaching endeavor? Like, I'm assuming by now they know what coaching is, right? But a lot of people don't know really what that is. So like when you let's say you have that conversation with your spouse, hey, look, I'm interested in being a performance coach. You're like looking at you like, what? You want to coach what? What kind of sport?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a journey in helping everybody understand. They already knew I kind of had an entrepreneurial heart. And then writing the book and then I was being coached. So I would share, what I was learning through being coached, and they saw my transformation. I know we're audio only, so you can't see me as you're listening to me, but 3 years ago, my hair was really short and black, and it had been dyed that way for a very, very long time. I was born that way, and then it got dyed that way for a really long time. And now I'm a blonde with longer flowing hair, and I'm like, just in general, like my outside self is a reflection of what's changed on the inside for me. I used to hold my creativity back, and now I really embrace it and let it flow. And I'm just so much more fulfilled and joyful. And so I think that's how my family has helped, how it's helped my family understand what I'm doing, is they're seeing the joy that I'm getting from this. And I have conversations with them on a regular basis about how I've impacted other people's lives and what a difference is made. So hopefully I'm being a role model for them as well, that life is about helping other people. Mm-hmm. That's for no matter what our job is.
So your hair used to be short and black, like you used to dye it black?
Yeah, because I went gray when I was like 20, and I didn't want to have, everywhere I would go, like I'd get in an elevator and people would talk about my hair, or I'd be checking out in a store. I'm like, I don't want to talk about my silver hair. So I just started dyeing it, but I kept it really short too, because, as an accountant or whatever, it was my nature to keep everything really controlled.
So do you feel like you're expressing who you truly are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
Again, it's courage. It's being able to set boundaries and expressing what it is that I want, what my dreams are, and how I want to bring that into the world, and learning from other people and watching how other people do it, but then doing it my way and making sure what I'm bringing into the world is unique.
Well, what's your way? Like, what would you say your way is? Like your signature way of bringing that light into the world?
Yeah. So
that's a tough question.
Yeah, I'm having to think about this one a little bit.
And it's fine. Like that's the whole point of the podcast, is to think about, like, what is your signature way? Like, what is it that Kathleen brings? What is her light?
Yeah. I'm going to say hope, Trey. I'm going to say hope. And, I think there's so much discouragement, and there's always junk in the world, always. It's always been that way. You can look back historically. My dad was a big history buff, and so he always reminded me to keep things in perspective. And just, whenever we're working on something and we have something to look forward to, some goal, that's what makes life exciting. That growth that's required. I feel like that's the purpose of us being here, is to grow and to help each other grow. And so if we're working to achieve things, working for connection with others, being our best self, then and if I'm doing that for others, that's how I'm bringing me into the world.
It's pretty powerful. I like that. Hope. How much of your spirituality, like, how much does that show in your business?
Yeah, so I don't lead with that. I'm not a faith-based business coach on my website. I do post faith-based concepts and verses on social media. So if people were looking me up, they would see that that's where I come from. That's the place I come from. But if I know that a client is a Christian like I am, then I will incorporate that into our coaching. If they're not, then that's okay. I don't necessarily have to go there, or I can share how this concept from my faith has helped me with resilience. And then they can relate to that in another way. But we can each express our beliefs without having to feel like we have to change the other person.
You're just being open-minded to it, right?
Yeah, and we're just still being who we are.
So what domination of, or how do you say it, the denomination of Christianity are you?
Yeah, so I am non-denominational, actually.
Oh, really?
I go to a Christian church where we welcome everybody wherever they are on their spiritual journey. And we just share how our faith, what we believe the Bible is saying to us, and how it impacts our lives, and how God loves us, and that nobody's perfect, that we all have pain that we've endured or pain that we've caused. And we can really either spend our whole lives being angry about that or feeling guilty about that, or we can accept God's grace in that. And grace is a hard word to wrap our heads around, but it's really just the knowledge that he created us and loves us and understands that we are in a difficult situation and we are all just doing the best we can.
Yeah, no, grace is tough. I mean, so I've been reading this book by Carl Jung, and a lot of people, I don't know if you guys know or not, he's a pretty famous psychologist, PhD, and his book is like a autobiography, and it is tough to read. It is tough to read. But he talks about his struggles with Christianity and religion, and there's one example in there where he discovered God's grace, and essentially explaining the feeling that he had, like, his whole philosophy and theory about Adam and Eve. It's crazy. I won't go into too much of it, but basically, like, his story basically says, the reason why we ate the forbidden fruit was to experience God's grace. Like, that is why we sin, is because God wants us to experience his grace, which is something that is just so unexplainable, so powerful that, when you receive it, why, or how powerful he is. And, that is like for a lot of people, that's like that moment where they have this epiphany, or they have this realization of what we truly are and what we're capable of, right? Like when you realize that you have God's grace, no matter what, no matter how jacked up you are in business, no matter how jacked up you are in life, like to realize and ask for forgiveness. And then, you have it. That's God's grace. I mean, that's his gift to all of us, right?
It absolutely is. And my favorite part of it is that he's given us free will. And I think of it like this, and this isn't original from me, I heard this somewhere, but if you told your wife she had to love you,
I do all the time. I tell her she has to love me. She said, I do.
Well, okay, there. When you tell her, right? When you
sometimes
tell her.
Sometimes she laughs. Sometimes she doesn't.
But you know the truth. She loves you because she wants to. Sure. Of her own free will. And that's what God established for us, that, we would have that choice, because he wants to feel love. We want to feel love. He does too. And, so he's given us the option, and it's a gift that we can accept or not accept or not accept his gift of love.
Sure. Yeah, no, I love talking about spirituality. I'm very open-minded to it. But I feel like a lot of people are hesitant when it comes to business because they don't want to think about that, or they don't think how it applies. But I think it applies to everything, right? I think people always have that saying of, it's not personal, it's business. I think it's all personal. I think it's, I don't look at business that way. I think, you conduct your business the way you conduct your life, really. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely, Trey. And there's here's how I differentiate in running your business. So I am a huge supporter of diversity and non-discrimination. So I don't care what color you are, what your sexuality is, what your beliefs are, your religion, whatever. If you have the skill set, and you also have the personality, and you agree with the values of the company, and I don't mean, you have to believe in Jesus Christ. I mean the values like integrity and honesty and, customer service, and whatever those values are, then you may be a good fit for my company. Now, how I lead my company and how I manage you, if I'm doing that from a place of love And that love comes from my faith in God and my Christianity. I'm getting my energy and my resilience and my courage and whatever it is I'm getting from my higher power. And that's how I'm leading my company. That is different from who I hire and how I treat them. And there's laws around that, and there's reasons for those laws because they're right. They're fair.
Yeah, you said it, love, right? Like the loving all regardless. I think I can identify with every religion. I think essentially, I'm Catholic, but I find myself being more spiritual than anything, really more spiritual than religious lately. More just being understanding about what the universe is and what the universe can provide us, and that power and that energy. And I've been reading a lot of different books on religion, and they all point towards the same thing: is that there's this inner gift inside of us, this inner power, and a lot of them try to teach us through meditation how to not control, but kind of become aware to that power, and tap into that. And I mean, every book that I read is like, everything is like pointed inward. Like it's so crazy. It's like there's this source inside of ourselves that we're forgetful because we continuously go for the external things, the external rewards, and we become blind to our power. It's like the ego, the mind is always looking outwards. Like we're always looking outwards. Like our brain is just trained to look for, scan the environment for danger. Yeah. And in that time, we forget about the power, the source of our energy, which is in our hearts. And, a lot of people forget that. So they're always looking for that external happiness, when in reality, it all starts within.
You're absolutely right, Trey. And I think about it as whether we're thinking about the eternal or whether we're thinking about the temporal. And when it's okay and God wants us to thrive here and to have a good life and a happy life. There's, because of the world the way it is, that's not every day and every minute. But the point is that it's okay for us to want money, but if our entire self-worth, if our entire security is in our possessions, well, we know those could go away in an instant. So anxiety oftentimes is connected to how connected we are to the temporal things in our life. The more that we can think about the eternal things, the legacy we're going to leave, the relationships that we're developing, when we think about eternity, then it's easier to manage anxiety. I'm not going to say anxiety goes away. That's a lie.
No, it's programmed in our bodies. I mean, anxiety is a natural thing. I mean, I'm starting to realize that, right? Like, I mean, if you look at our genetics, if you look at the evolution of our ancestors, anxiety was basically a lifesaver, right? Like it told us when there was danger, like external, environments, we would, scan the area, come outside of our caves and go, fight saber-toothed tigers. And the anxiety is what saved us. But now we don't have to worry about that type of stuff. So now we refer to like societal stuff, societal dangers, and we feel anxiety in different scenarios now. And that's why I think a lot of people struggle with that, because they don't necessarily know how to deal with, the oxytocin and serotonin that we're feeling when we don't feel like we belong to the group, or we feel like we're outsiders or loners or something like that. I mean, you're feeling bad feelings because genetically you're programmed to feel that way. Like, our ancestors, like the way that we evolved, like in order to survive, you had to be a part of the group. You had, that's how you survived, was the group, the tribe. And when you're not a part of that, that's when you feel depressed, and that's when you feel anxiety, and because it means danger, right?
Absolutely. And, a couple things on that. One is, as a business owner, it's normal to have higher levels of, kind of loneliness and isolation. It's a very lonely journey. Your family, you asked about my family before, they're supportive, but they can't understand what I'm going through. There's no way that they understand how much it takes for me to, be on a podcast or do a sales call, or, do a video for Facebook, whatever it is I'm doing. Like these are really stretching me. And so they can't, just like I can't relate to what my husband, a software engineer, does all day. You can't relate to someone else's journey. So, that anxiety, from a business owner standpoint, if they can connect with other business owners in a group to talk with, or a coach, then they have that kind of support that's missing in the rest of their life. The other thing I want to mention is about social media. It's kind of interesting because you think it makes us more connected, but in many ways it makes us disconnected. So that's one way that coaches out there or other kinds of business owners, if you can create a community of people, like a networking community, that's very helpful too, because it's a safer place where you're supporting each other.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% on that. Everybody wants to be the one upper, right? Like everyone sees the Facebook perfect world, the Instagram perfect world, and they're like, how do I one up that? That's how we're built. Again, that's in our nature. Like, to one up somebody, like you don't think it is, but it is. It's trying to show that you're the dominant. You're trying to show that you're the alpha. And it's like, how do you do that on social media? By posting a better picture of you and your family next to the beach, or you posting a bigger house, a faster car. And it's like, it never stops. Social media is 24/7. And that's why a lot of people struggle with anxiety, because they can't get that one up. And that cortisol continuously drips in your brain, creating those neurochemicals that make you feel bad and depressed, because you're continuously looking at that timeline, that time feed, and you're seeing all these people doing successful things. You're seeing the external rewards that you're not getting, that other people are getting. And it's like, what are you doing, man? Like the tribe is leaving you. You're out here by yourself. You're going to die. It's danger, danger, danger. So it's like, how do you fix that? You fix it by becoming aware of that, right? Even as a business owner, being aware of that, being aware that your coworkers are feeling that way, or maybe your employees are feeling that way, and kind of addressing that in-house in your business, and focusing your business towards, maybe your clients, maybe making them feel a little bit different, maybe making your employees feel a little bit more important than what you're making them feeling currently. I mean, it's just being aware to that.
Yeah, absolutely, Trey. And, I think about a couple things is, one is that the awareness, like you talked about, the awareness that people will post their best moment out there and not their most vulnerable moment. And so there actually is an opportunity in that to, if you bring people along on your journey, and then remember, keep in mind not to compare yourself to people who have been on this journey already, are a few years ahead of you. It helps. I definitely struggled with that in the beginning, and I still do, and we all do, is, I'm looking at, like, I'll compare myself to Brendan Burchard. Like, how silly is that? He's been doing this for a long time, and he's got all the funnels and all that stuff already in place, the webinars, the group coaching. And I'm just scratching the surface on this stuff. So, it's not appropriate for me to compare myself to them. That's like comparing a kindergartner to a college student. That's, the kindergartner shouldn't be doing that. Looking at and they're not going to be in the same place. And then also sometimes it's important to just a disconnect from news or a person on social media, even though they're not really personally attacking you. If they make you feel less than, then maybe you take a break for a while and work on
disconnect
positive.
Disconnect to reconnect, right?
Yes.
Disconnect to reconnect with your source. I mean, like you said, not comparing yourself to other people's chapters in their lives. You don't know. Like, you see people on the news now, or you see people like Brendan Burchard, like I didn't know who he was, and all of a sudden he's got these crazy books, and it's like, but he's been grinding out for forever, right?
Yeah.
Just like Gary V. He's been grinding out on YouTube. I mean, you see a lot of these people that are just putting in their successes are being shown in the light, but you don't see their hard work that was done in the dark,
That's right.
Where do you want to be though? Like what is your goal? Like all right, right now, like if you could see the future, if you can actually change your future and basically say where you want to be, like what is your dream? Where do you want to go?
Yeah, so I actually would love to have an organization like Brendan's where I'm writing books and I'm group coaching, individual coaching at a higher level, and also speaking engagements. I love to speak and to connect with people that way.
Mm-hmm.
So also I'm going to be working on some online courses and online membership programs. So I really just the whole, they call it the influencer model, is where I'd
Sure.
like to be. You know, as I'm getting older, I'm the kind of person who I can't imagine I'll ever retire. So I just love to keep busy and active, and my brain is always going and working. So, you know, the influencer model is perfect for me, because then I can really be, you know, 90 in my nursing home, cranking out online courses, right? And
Awesome.
coaching, why
Who
not?
knows what the world's going to be, you know, going on by then. I mean, it could,
Yeah.
virtual reality. You might be having like avatars. You might be able to be 90 in a nursing home and doing something in France. Who knows? You might have some avatars or something.
That's
What,
right.
like, all right. So you said you want to have like some conferences and stuff like that. Like when you're up on stage, like your dream, right? Who's on stage with you and how many people are in the stadium?
These are great questions. Yeah. Other influencers for sure would be on stage with me.
This is a dream. Like number one. Who is number one? Who's right next to you?
Okay, it's Brendan. It's Brendan Burchard. I'm a big fan. I'm just going to fess up.
So
That would
Brendan's
be
next
amazing.
to you. Brendan's next to you.
Brendan's next to me.
Who's
and
next
we have,
to him? Who's next to him?
Well, I
You
certainly
got one person there. You got you and Brendan are doing a conference for 50,000 people. You guys are talking about leadership
Yeah, it's
and
me
coaching.
and Brendan.
It sounds like a fantasy. This isn't a dream.
Hey, I don't dream small.
This
Trey.
is
I
like,
don't dream small.
what is going on in this dream? You and Brendan. That's it. It's the only people there. It's just you and him.
No. You know, the typical influencer people, but we'll see who's hot at the time, Trey. We're going to see who deserves to be up there with me and Brendan.
Can I just come? Can I just watch? Can I just hang out?
Yeah. Trey, you can be up there with me.
All right, I'll be up there. Me, Brendan, and you. And you got. What are you talking about up there? You talking about coaching? What is your dream topic? Like, if you could talk about anything in the world, what would you talk about?
Yeah, I love talking about leadership. What my book is about, all those concepts and how leadership, it can change the world. And there's so much, people have lost track of that. The integrity part of it, the influence part of it. There's so many aspects to leadership and leadership isn't a title, by the way. It's who you are. So it's who you are in a situation with other people. Mm. And so if you are doing anything to lead people, in my opinion, it's got to be in the right direction, then you're being a leader. You can I don't consider you a leader if you're convincing everybody to go rob a bank, for example. A leader has integrity.
So you said, so leadership, is it something you're born with or do you have to learn it?
A couple of options on that. I was born kind of being bossy, as my brother would say. So there's a piece of me that I have to admit I was born with, Trey. But leadership is also a skill set. So there's a lot of people who are more soft-spoken than me, perhaps, who have more humility than I do, who just, you know, are in it, come at this, everybody's personality has the opportunity to lead. And it starts with being true to yourself, knowing what the vision is, and then collaborating with others to move in a direction. That's really what leadership is.
That is awesome. Yeah, leadership. What's your take on like extreme leadership, right? Like Jocko Willink. I don't know if you ever read his stuff or not. Like that familiar. Taking the extreme ownership on things, like, you know, as a leader, whatever happens is basically your fault, right? Like, I mean, essentially, if your team is not performing to your standard, it's because you're not communicating it clearly, or let's say they're not fulfilling a mission effectively, or they're not doing, you know, it always comes back to the leader, essentially.
I agree completely.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're not doing something, you know, as a leader, you're not either communicating, you're not showing them the way, you're not coaching them, you're not doing what it is that a leader should be doing. I think that's probably the best way to approach leadership is to take it, be responsible for 100%. Like if your team is, you have a goal for your team, like it's your duty to get them there.
That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You need to make sure you have the right people in place, and there's, structure around doing that. It's about working with people to get the best out of them. And if they're not a good fit, if they're not willing, which sometimes happens, then it's letting them go. Mm-hmm. And there's a process around all that, but includes the vision. There's the leadership portion, which is the vision and the values. And then there's the management portion. And so as a business owner, you've got to have both of those skill sets. And that's what's difficult is oftentimes we're more naturally inclined for one of those skill sets, and it takes initiative and you have to be proactive about learning the skill sets that are not as natural for you.
Love it. Kathleen, how can people get in touch with you?
Yes, I would love for them to go to my website, thefearlessclimb.com, CLIMB.com, thefearlessclimb.com. And on there, I offer a complimentary coaching session, and I'm also doing webinars so they can come on board and learn a little bit more. And if they don't want to do that, but they just want to read the book we were talking about, Grow a Pair of Antlers, The Fearless Climb to Lead Your Herd, they can get a free PDF download on my website. So love to connect with them.
Grow a Pair of Antlers. That is, yes, I love that. I love that. Kathleen, I think we touched on it a little bit earlier, but I want to hear it again. Like, what do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah, I just focus mostly on my kids. So I want them to have thought about, I have a daughter and a son, and I want them to look and say that life can be lived on like a roller coaster, like this fun, exciting, hair-raising, hands in the air. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Like it's so much fun and so scary. And you look back and you go, oh, okay, I lived life fully. I just went for it. And there's times when you're glad it's flat for a while or, around a calm curve. But in general, I want my kids to see that life can be led in a courageous, exciting, just go all out way.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. I love that. Kathleen, I want to say thank you so much for joining the show. This has been really fun, really inspirational. And thank you for, being authentic and talking to us about your business and your book.
Thank you so much, Trey. I've enjoyed being part of this podcast. I appreciate you so much.
I want to say thank you to Kathleen. I want to say thank you to you, the listener, for downloading. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I know you guys are busy. I want to know what you guys are up to. Hit me up, yoursuperiorself.com. Leave me a message. You can follow me on Instagram at tdowns80 and on Twitter at downstrey. Let me know your thoughts. All right, guys, have a great and amazing week. I'll talk to you later.